Another thing that's very important if you're going to build a small house is that you have a lot of energy, a lot of storage, excuse me, getting carried away with energy. All of the houses that I've profiled, these are all from the new book, found creative ways to put storage wherever it was possible. So the one you see on the left is the ADU, and they put storage for all their bicycles on the outside, and they have several storage units like that on the outside of the house. And the one on the right, they didn't want to waste the space going up the landing, and so they put bookshelves there. And the bottom house, which I'm going to show you a little bit more in a minute, is the Madison house in Olympia, Washington. These were two adults who got married later in life. They're both very active boomers, and they are big bicyclists. So they built a whole area in the house. Even though this is a very small house, they built a large area for storage of their bicycles. I think and the one on the left is a house that has very minimal hallways, and the way they divided the living room from the other rooms is by doing bookcases, which are storage as well as kind of a divider. Everybody today, I think, wants open floor plans. If you watch HGTV, everybody's walking through the house, and the number one thing they always say is, I want an open floor plan. The house on the left is a really interesting house in Nova Scotia, and this house is off the grid, but it has a lot of the aspects that make it feel large. It has vaulted ceilings, light colors, and it is a very nice open plan. The house on the right was my house, my first house that I lived in when I sold my larger house. And this large, or I guess it's not so large room, was used as a dining room, as a kitchen, as a living room. It had a pull-out couch so that it could be a sleeping couch. And it worked really well, even though it was small. It had lots of light, good ceilings, and it was just laid out well. So even the sides had cushions so that it gave extra seating in the small space. It's also important that use creative furnishing concepts. This was a very small house built as a model in Southampton, and the television was put on a pivot so that it could be used in the bedroom as well as in the living room. And this is that tiny house that I showed you a little while ago. It's called the Casita in Yerba City. Not every community would allow such a small house, but in this particular community where there used to be the people that made the cigars, and they had a lot of small houses to begin with, and they allowed this 400 square foot house. So the people, in order to maximize the space, they had a drop leaf table, and the chairs are hung on the wall. So when they're ready to eat there, they just take everything down and set it up. Also, another way to expand the space is to have movable walls. This house was built for the president of Unity College, and the president liked to have a lot of events in the house, and he wanted it to be small and very efficient, but he wanted to have room to have meetings and have gatherings. So he got Benson wood, which did a modular panelized system, to do these sliding doors, and they would open to the bedroom, but they could kind of make that, hide that and make it a larger space for meetings. They also built it with triple glazed windows and concrete floors, which act as thermal mass. So it will gather the heat during the day, and when it's sunny and warm, and will release it in the evening when the temperature goes down. Another way to close off space or create new space is to have movable walls. And Minark is a company out in California, and they're two Icelandic designers who actually, interesting, found each other in architectural school, and they married, and they've been building some incredible houses. The Icelandic model is really very sparse because up in Iceland it's difficult to get a lot of materials. So the houses are very simple and not terribly ornamented. This particular house was built with a moving wall, so you just kind of slightly push it and it opens the living room to a room that could be a guest room or office or a game room. So it was designed by Minark and was built with a panelized system. This house was in an earlier book that I did. It's in Kirkland, Washington. This family lived in a much larger house, and they felt like they weren't spending enough time with their children, that they had excess space that they weren't using, and they decided to build a house that had more usable space that could be used for different purposes. So they would have a tighter family unit. And one of the interesting things that they did was do this garage door that was used by the back porch, and the dining table is on wheels, and they can take it outside to use for picnics during the warmer weather. And it's a very multifunctional space, as a lot of the people required in their new smaller houses. And everybody wanted more outdoor space. So on the house on the left, which is a Leeds Platinum house built with structural insulated panels, and it has a nice porch, and what you don't see is the backyard. And the house on the right is in Easton, and it has a nice sized porch. And what I learned while doing this is that a lot of people from the South were painting their ceilings hate blue, and there's a variety of reasons. Some people believe that it keeps away the evil spirits. So whatever it is, it's becoming more and more popular. It started out in the South, but I've been seeing this color on the ceilings of lots of porches around the country. And people, again, wanted a lot of outdoor space. This other house in Connecticut on the left, they built a porch that you can sit in the warmer weather and bug-free. And it's just a nice area of the house that didn't have to be heated and cooled, and just expanded the space of the house. The house on the right, they did an interesting area, an interesting thing with the backyard. The house is small, and so, but they like to have a lot of large family gatherings. So what they did is put a garage door on the front of the house and also the back of the house. So if they want to have a large gathering outside, they'll open up the rear garage door and use that as a space for entertaining when they have large groups of people. So I thought that was really, really creative. And all of the houses had some type of patio or deck and outdoor space. And again, a lot of people required multi-purpose spaces so that the space wasn't wasted. This house on the left was built by Lindell Cedar Homes, which do wonderful houses, again, in the Northwest. For these two artists that this house was built for, they wanted a desk area, an office space, and so they used a hallway to make an office space. So that space wasn't wasted. And then in this house on the right, which is in Austin, they have a wall that closes off a den area that can also be a extra bedroom, and so that room can be a multi-purpose. And a lot of the people that had built these small houses, they have open up couches or Murphy beds so that they can expand the uses of that particular space. Most of the houses were built with minimal hallways. When you have a lot of hallways, you need to heat and cool those air spaces and pay to uh, build those spaces, and it's kind of wasted space. So a lot of the architects that I spoke to for this latest book, they designed the houses with minimal hallways. And this was the house I showed you a little bit before, where you can see on the living room, right behind the living room is that storage cabinet or bookshelves, and it divides the private spaces from the public spaces, and it's well used, and it still has a good flow of air and no hallways. And a lot of people did built-in nooks, either for eating or for books, or in the case with the Westport house was under the bed. So there was a nice amount of storage. And barn doors are very popular, either new barn doors or like the one on the left. It was wood that was rescued from an old barn, family barn, and it was made into a barn door. But there were also new doors like the one on the right, and also the one on the top that goes into the bathroom. And the one on the top left is glass, so it allows light to come in while also giving the family some privacy. Pocket doors were another thing that I found in a lot of the houses. Again, here on the right, you see frosted glass that gives privacy, but it also doesn't take up room. When you have a swinging door, you need space to have that door swinging out. So it saves some space, and it's a nice clean look. Again, a lot of the people wanted multifunctional furniture. So one of the things that I've been interested in for a number of years is the Solar Decathlon, which is run by the U.S. Department of Energy. And they get schools in the United States, as well as they're running solar decathlons around the world. This particular one was in Irvine, but they accept proposals from universities around the country and around the world, and the universities build houses and try to come up with ingenious new technologies. This particular house I thought was really fun. They built a wall unit that when it closed, there was television and a media center, and then when they opened it, there was the Murphy bed. But they also made it so that when it opened, it could swing out and you could have an outside area to watch television. So I thought that was a kind of clever. There is going to be another solar decathlon in Colorado in April, and it's really something worth looking into. I've been to a few of the solar decathlons, and the students have so much great information. They come up with so many new technologies, and they're really teaching a whole generation about how to build better houses and more energy efficient houses. Again, multifunctional furniture is very useful. Actually, the house is on the pictures on the right are my own first small house, and that was my office on the top, but I had a bed that could open up so that one of my children could have a place to sleep. And again, on the bottom, the couch was also a bed, so that again, more space to sleep. And then the table was just comfortable enough, and it could be also used as an office, a little office space. And on the left was a house that was in the Minark house in California, and the night table just pulled out from the headboard. High ceilings also make a house feel larger than it is, and the house on the right is a timber frame panelized house in Concord, and Yankee Barn Homes does a beautiful job, beautiful quality, and lots of windows, and also very energy efficient. even though there were all these windows, there was a lot of care to make sure that it was efficient. And the house on the left is a Lindell Cedar home, and there is the high ceilings in the social areas of the house, and then there's a bedroom on that floor, but also on the second level, which overlooks the living area. This was a very interesting house that was kind of fun to learn about in New Canaan, Connecticut. This family bought a large piece of property with a large house that needed to be renovated. And while they were going to renovate, before they were going to renovate that, they built themselves a little cottage, 1,400 square feet, to live in while they were renovating the big house. And they actually liked living in the small house so much that they never actually finished the renovation on the other house. And this house appears to have a second floor, but actually it's an illusion, and it's just one floor with high ceilings and lots of great light coming in from the upper windows. Small appliances have become very popular. You used to only be able to find small refrigerators for college dorms or for a bar area, but today you can buy all kinds of appliances that are smaller than the average appliances, and they're very attractive, and they work very well in ADUs or in small houses, as you can see in these pictures. And I recently did an article about small appliances. I've been so fascinated by the evolution of of appliances in general, even some of the more colorful appliances that are coming out and more interesting appearances. But while I was doing this article, I found some of these companies that were just doing beautiful small appliances. Light colored walls also give an illusion of more space. I showed you earlier a picture of the Morton house, which is just 1,000 square feet, 1,005 square feet. It has high ceilings. It has concrete floors, which help with the efficiency of the house, light walls, and it has lots of the aspects that you would want in a small house, and it actually looks much larger than it is. And the house on the left is a little house in Kennebunkport. It was also built as a vacation house, but it has small appliances, light colored walls, pitched ceilings that make it look larger than it is, and it's really an adorable little house. Open staircases both allow air to flow through and give an illusion of space. And so the house on the right was built by two collectors of sculptures from around the world. And so they built this open staircase that has little niches going around, and they were able to display some of their sculptures. And the house on the left is, again, a small house in Canada, and the open staircase, again, gives more of an airy feeling. Movable glass walls are becoming more popular. When I first started writing about houses, it was difficult to find. There was only one company, NanoWall, that was making these walls that just totally open, and they really make the house feel like it's just so much more expansive. There's a limited barrier between the house and the outside. This is that house built by Minark in California, and it's larger than some of the other small houses, but it's really quite beautiful, and the outside area is very expansive and really makes this house very livable and comfortable. Many of the people, even the younger people that I spoke to, were interested in building a house that they could live in forever. And I think it's an illusion that only older people need features that make it comfortable in case of of physical issues. But young people break legs or have health issues, and they need a room to sleep on the first floor, as do older people. So a lot of people, either both young and older, are building houses with universal design features. And universal design allows people to live in a house forever and for all abilities. So it's designed for everybody at every stage of life. And so some of the things that I found in the houses were wide hallways and doors. When I first built my house, I couldn't get my builder to build me a threshold-free shower. And today, a large percentage of the houses had threshold-free showers, and apparently builders today know how to do that. Mine did not at the time. And a lot of people are putting entries into the house that are threshold-free, so that if somebody is challenged physically, they can still enter the house easily. A lot of people are building bedrooms on the first floor, and they're using knobs and that are easier for hands that are arthritic or have issues to open. And kitchens in particular, there's a lot of issues for people that are handicapped. And so a lot of the houses are built with open shelving, with cabinets and doors that are easy to access. And again, when I first started writing about home construction, I wanted to write about grab bars, and I had a lot of trouble finding companies that would offer attractive grab bars that didn't look like hospital pieces. And today, all of the major bathroom accessory companies are making grab bars for showers and baths. And I think that a lot of people today are using them. Even if they're young, they might have elderly parents who would like to be able to stay over, and they need something to hold on to. And everybody needs, I think, adequate task lighting for safety. Here are two houses that were built to have universal design. And on the left, you can see the wide hallways, and on the right, open space and cabinets that are easily accessed, and lots of light, and again, drawers in kitchen. There are drawers in the kitchen instead of cabinets, so just making it easy to access. And again, most of the houses that I profiled in this latest book have threshold-free showers, and it just is practical for everybody, young or old, and it makes the bathroom just have a nice, clean, modern appearance. Again, a lot of the houses have master bedrooms on the first floor, so that even if people are young, they can age in place. And this particular house has an interesting frosted sliding doors, so that it allows the light to come in, but it also gives the people some privacy. Again, easily accessible kitchens are very important with open shelving. You can now have a dishwasher that pulls out and knobs that are just easier to handle. And here are some grab bars. Actually, the one on the right, you can take it off if you don't want it on at a particular time, and put it back on. And then you can see on the left, more attractive units are available. And all of the houses, there was a focus on task lighting so that people could work and move around more comfortably. I chose 4 of the houses that are in this new book to just profile a little bit, because they were such interesting cases. The one on the left I spoke about briefly, the Madison house. And that, again, was the 2 adults that came together, and they just wanted a small and very energy efficient house. They have the rimless shower, they have good outdoor space. They really don't have a very large property, but they took the best advantage they could. They have a lot of storage, they have a lot of green features, super insulation, concrete floors, natural daylighting, good storage space. You can see there's lots of light coming in. They have a built-in nook, which makes it easy if you're wheelchair bound or if it's difficult to get around, and a beautiful open floor plan and concrete floors. And the artisan group who designed this are just incredible designers, and a lot of what they do, all of what they do, is very efficient. Another interesting house was the Fletcher Place in Indianapolis, and this was owned by, it was designed by 10 studio architects, and it was owned by a realtor, and he knew he wanted to be close to town. He wanted lower energy bills, low maintenance, and so the house is made with brick, steel, and cedar, which require minimal care. He felt that more space and stuff actually would mean less time for happiness in the long run. So after he got a divorce, he wanted a smaller house that was just functional. And so you can see in this house the open staircase, the when you go upstairs, the again, minimal hallways, and the stairs go right into the master bedroom. And light colors, and he has an extra bedroom on the first floor. Another very interesting project was the Beach Cottage in California, and this was built by a designer, Steve Hollis. He's a designer and a developer in Encinitas, California. Location was very important to him. He moved with his family, 2 children, from Canada. He felt that the exchange rate was a positive one for him to move at the time, and he bought this 1957 house. And instead of expanding it, which he could have, he decided to just reconfigure the inside. And he reused a lot of the materials that he took apart from the house. And it's 2 blocks from the beach. He added a master bedroom, a walk-in closet, an office flex space. He upgraded the house to current codes. And as I said, he could have added space, but he decided that the extra space wouldn't improve the quality of the family's life. So they just reconfigured it and used as many materials as possible. Because of the drought area where he is, he replaced the front lawn with Palm Springs Gold, which is a crushed granite, crushed stone, mica, and gravel. And he put in all drought-tolerant plants. You can see the before and the after. And he added standing seam metal roof, which requires minimal maintenance. And he opened up the rear of the house so that it's more light and more outdoor usable space. And here you can see the before. And an interesting thing that he did is he took a photograph at the beach and he had it put on a acrylic and with a sticky back, and just used it as a mural in the living room. And you can see that the kitchen opens up to a very nice backyard area, and the kitchen is all modern, lots of storage space, very clean, new design. And the last one that I profiled here was the Solterre house, which I also showed you just a little bit of. It's in Nova Scotia. It was in a difficult location, so it's off the grid. And these people also have a salvage company, and so they used a lot of items that they were able to salvage from other projects. They have the interior doors were salvaged, the kitchen cabinets, countertops, the fireplace around, the acrylic store signage from their salvage company. This house has no hallways, expansive windows south facing, multi-purpose rooms, vaulted ceilings, which give the illusion of more space, pocket doors, rainwater cistern, a living roof, a recycled newsprint cellulose insulation, HRV, PV panels, solar panels, and it's a place for the family to age in place, and it's only 1,500 square feet. So here's just some of the green features of this house. Basically, the only thing that gives the house energy is the PV panels and the solar panels, and it has a small propane fueled stove, and they use propane for the stove. So this is the book that I just completed, Downsize, Living Large in a Small House, and it's available now. It just came out last week. And some of the other books that I've written, some of you may be familiar with. And I appreciate all of you coming and listening, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about anything that I've spoken